What's up, guys? So this is part 2 from the Samsung Galaxy J3 versus ZTE Warp Elite, and I wanted to make this one a separate video because this is just going to be nothing but my opinions and answering some slight questions about both devices as compared. So if you want to see the actual comparison video between both phones as far as specs and benchmarks and camera demos, I'll put the link in the description to that video as I posted it up earlier today. So but anyways, my final thoughts between both these phones. We'll get into that. Let me just answer some of the more questions that I got considering both these devices. And one of them is would I use the J3 as my daily driver over the Warp Elite? And the answer to that question is that is currently happening right now. This is my DD phone. This is the phone that I use right now. Okay. Now I know some people will probably be like, why? You know, it doesn't exactly perform as fast as the Warp Elite does. And then here's my thing. It performs well enough. The J3 does. Okay? It has no lag, which is a good thing because I hate having to deal with, going into applications and having this, like 60-second pause between 45 to 60-second pause. I hate having that. If I open an app, I want it to just open. And it does it fairly well. Even with the 1.5 gigabytes of RAM, it functions very well, which is I'm happy. I'm happy they didn't do 16 gigs of onboard storage and only 1 gig of RAM because that would still suck. So it actually performs very well for multitasking and for social networking, which are the things that I use my smartphone mostly for. And the fact that it is a smartphone is the biggest issue. Lately, I've just been on this reverse, I guess, evolution, you want to call it, while most people are looking to get 5.5-inch displays, 5.7-inch displays, 6-inch displays. I'm going backwards to a 5-inch display. And the reason for that is that sometimes, it does get a little, stressful to like really hold this big phone around, lug it in my pocket or whatever. Especially, I'm a guy that loves to wear basketball shorts. So, you know how basketball shorts pockets are. You put a big phone like this in your pocket and, you're walking or running and it's going to swing around and, might hit you in some areas that's going to hurt real bad. So, just having something that's not so big and heavy, whatever, is relieving at sometimes. Now, it doesn't mean that I'll never use my Warp Elite again. As a matter of fact, I'm a person that doesn't really stick to one device for a whole entire month. You can ask anyone that knows me. I don't go 30 days with one device, okay? In 30 days, I've probably swapped out my devices about maybe 8 or 9 times minimum. It just, I'm the type of person that uses what I want to use that day. However, what I feel like using that day is what I'm going to use. But lately, it's been the J3. And the obvious reason, without sugarcoating or BSing anybody, is because, it is new in my possession. It's a new phone. So, of course, new things you tend to rock and give more attention to. And eventually, then, it kind of subsides and you're like, oh, well, I want to go back to my Warp Elite. And then you activate your Warp Elite and this sits on the shelf. Just for right now, just, a smartphone is just what I really want, especially since I use a tablet. And not only the fact, but like Samsung has stepped its game up a little bit with TouchWiz. It's not as quirky or wonky as it used to be, and so that's a huge plus. So that's the reason why it is my daily driver. Some people have said that it's not better than the ZTE Warp Elite, and I totally understand. When you talk about performance, you're comparing 1.5 gigabytes of RAM and how that handles just daily tasks on the device versus a device that has 2 gigs of RAM. Well, of course, the one with the 2 gigs of RAM is going to perform much better because it has more RAM to actually help push those applications and help them perform to the way that they're supposed to. That's a no-brainer there. But the 1.5 gigs of RAM doesn't mean that the phone is very laggy, very slow. I mean, that's an issue that we experience now with budget devices that have 1 gig of RAM are always tend to starting to act a little wonky, like the G Stylo. Has 1 gig of RAM. I mean, if the phone had 1.5 gigs of RAM, I'm pretty sure it'd fly like a butterfly. But those are just some of the things. But anyways, for me personally, between these two, one doesn't dominate over the other because there's things that the J3 does so well that you got to give it up to it for the way it is spec'd against the Warp Elite, and other things that the Warp Elite just stays on top of and that the J3 can't touch. So really, there is no clear, concise winner between, in my opinion. So I'll leave that up to you guys based on the comparison video, which one you guys think won. And you guys can comment that in the comment section of this video, letting me know. And if you guys enjoyed both of these videos, let me know by leaving me that thumbs up. This is why I love to do these videos for you guys. You guys are awesome. If you have not subscribed, take time to click that subscribe button right down there. My name is Tito with Aloha Android. Thanks for checking out this video. It's my final thoughts of the Galaxy J3 versus the Warp Elite. See you guys next time.